In this short video, I'm going to provide you a review again of our steps of research, but what I want to do is tell you where you can actually find those steps in a typical journal article. Just a review of the 5 steps of our research process, which I provided in a class, but also it's in your textbook. Excuse me. So step 1 is identify the research question. We identify the problem. What's the problem that we're interested in? From there, we want to do a literature review, which again, hopefully at this point you know how to do a lit review, to develop our theoretical framework of what we're researching. We identify the variables and we state our hypothesis and our purpose. And we're going to spend a lot of time in this step in our class. The next part of our research process is to actually design a study. That's the whole point of this particular class that you're in, is design a protocol, choose the subjects that are going to be in your study. Then the next step is actually doing the study, collecting the data. And then from there, you analyze the data and interpret the finding, which is the 4th step. And the final step is reporting your findings, your conclusions. That's what the journal article is. There's more than these 2 journals that I would recommend. These are the more prominent athletic training journals. These are what are called peer-reviewed journals. What peer review process means, you write the article, you and somebody else write an article, submit it to a journal. It is there's usually an editor for the journal, and that editor then does an initial review, make sure it meets all the standards that are set by the author's guidelines, which I have actually provided the guidelines for these 2 journals in the class. Once that is, they say yes, you've met those guidelines, then they send it for blind review to other peers who are experts in a particular area. They read it independent of one another, turn it back into the editor. The editor reads the review, combines them, see if he or she agrees with the editor's, the peers' review, and sends it back to the author. And they either have rejected that article submission, or they have accepted with changes, which is typically what happens. The authors have to make changes, and then they make the changes, submit it, goes through the review process again, and it comes back and say, hey, your article is accepted. Now it's going to go into our May submission. So that process takes several months depending on the journal itself. So it's peer reviewed by peers in the area. For us, it's in athletic training. I'm a peer reviewer for the Journal of Athletic Training. And so that's the process of peer review. So look, I'm bringing the journals in here just because I want to, again, show you where we can find the steps of research in our typical journal. Now, for our 2 journals, again, there's more than 2 journals in athletic training. Again, for any of your classes, you should expand the research beyond just AT and look in all the other healthcare areas. But our sections within a journal article are dependent on the study type. So that's one of the reasons why we have our research design class and in the program. And you can see in the author's guide that depending on the types of research that you're doing, it will have different sections. But generally speaking, most journal articles will have these sections. You'll have a title, obviously, and we'll talk about what makes a good title. Some kind of abstract. In our 2 AT journals, we use structured abstracts, and we'll talk about that more later in our class. We have keywords, which are the main points of the article, and this is what drives the internet search. So when you want to type in some couple words, when we're searching through our various databases, that helps us find articles. our introduction, the method section, the results section, the discussion and conclusion sections, and reference section. So I'm going to spend much more time on each one of these sections throughout this class and our next class, so I'm not going to spend too much time here. But here what I want to talk about is where we can find our steps within our journal articles. So our first step is, again, we're identifying a research question. This is typically found in our abstract and the introduction. So this is where we should be able to do that step. We should find that in those two parts of our article. The step 2, design, and in step 3, methods, are all going to be in the methods section. So we design the study, and then we actually do the study, and we discuss that in the methods section within the journal article. Our fourth step is data analysis. So what's it all mean once we collect all the data, and then we interpret the data. Again, that's going to be in methods and the results section. And obviously the fifth step, communication, that's the discussion section, the conclusion section, and the entire article is there. So again, the point of this presentation is just to help you understand where we can find the 5 steps of or the research process in any journal article. They should be found here, and we use these steps to design a research article, and we'll use these steps in our research paper within ATR 590.